Hey everyone, Casey Rain here from The Violet Reality. As you all know, today, April 21st, is the 5th anniversary of Prince's passing. It's safe to say it's been a difficult 5 years for all of us. But as time passes and we try our best to come to terms with the here and now, it's a good opportunity to look at everything that has become his posthumous legacy in the last 5 years and what they've added to the complex oeuvre of his career. Now let's be clear, Prince's legacy will always be chaptered by what he gave us, what he released while he was here. So I see the posthumous legacy as more filling in the gaps, adding a little bit of color to the picture, and overall just teaching us a little bit more each time about who Prince was as a person and as an artist. What he didn't release while he was alive is the yang to the yin that he did release. And just as every person who worked with Prince saw a different layer of him as a person, a fact that we've uncovered through our Uncovering Prince video series, so too does every posthumous project add a little bit more detail of who Prince really was. So I wanted to talk today a little bit about the 5 projects that have impacted me the most of all the posthumous releases and projects, talk a little bit about what I'd like to see happen next, then hand it over to you, our viewers, to hear your thoughts on which projects have meant the most to you. Let's do this.
Number 1. Opening up Paisley Park as a museum. This has to be first on the list. Paisley Park might well be in all of our hearts, but it's a testament to a life and career of hard work. Prince surrounded himself not with comforts, not with the spoils of success, but with the tools of his trade. From the studios to the soundstage to the MPG MC room to the inspirational setting of the atrium, surrounded by pastel colors, doves, and the reminders of where hard work can take you, Paisley Park stands as an ode to someone who was truly willing to do the work, who relished creativity and put everything he had into his artistry and left nothing behind. Having attended multiple celebration events, it's clear that the setup of Paisley Park, even without Prince here, can still operate as a well-oiled machine for live performances, recordings, filmings, gatherings, and as a sacred ground for fans from all over the world. Unfortunately, due to the pandemic, it's now been 2 years since we last went, but we can't wait to go back. Number 2. The Super Deluxe Edition series. Make no mistake, the Super Deluxe series is a series for the fans. Combining detailed liner notes, photos, and artifacts with remastered original albums and a stunning amount of outtakes, plus live footage as a cherry on top, it's hard to pick faults in the ones released so far. In my personal opinion, the balance of the 1999 Deluxe release struck perfectly. Between the packaging, sequencing, and promotional efforts, it hit the nail on the head for what a Super Deluxe should be. But I think the best thing about it is the possibility for where it could go next. Ultimately, you could pull together outtakes, live material, and artifacts from the vast majority of Prince's releases and give them the Super Deluxe treatment, and I can't wait to see where this goes next. If the rumors prove true, we might be seeing Diamonds and Pearls as the next Super Deluxe in the series, and I am here for it. Number 3. The one-off releases. Prince was unpredictable, and that's usually the prerogative of only the artists themselves. So I've actually been thrilled to see the sporadic, random, one-off limited vinyl and tape drops, and especially to see who the estate has partnered with for some of them. So we've had things like the Versace Experience tape with the special purple tape being limited to Electric Fetus in Minneapolis, the Nothing Compares to You vinyl, of which the limited edition version was almost completely earmarked for celebration attendees, the extremely limited Sign of the Times single set pressed by Jack White's Third Man Records, the magazine cover mounts of things like My Computer in Germany, and the giveaway of the Rock and Roll is Alive vinyl at a Minnesota Twins baseball game. This plays fully into the kind of activities Prince did when he was alive, creating atmosphere, excitement, and scarcity, leading fans to work hard to get their copies. When these drops happen, it's fun and exciting and pumps energy into the fan base. Number 4. Book releases. When Prince was alive, I remember once going into a library and seeing only 2 or 3 Prince books on the shelves, compared to 15 or 20 different titles for artists like the Beatles, Elvis, and even Prince's contemporaries like Madonna and Michael Jackson. I always felt that this was unfair, and so I'm thrilled to see that this has begun to correct itself since his passing. From Dwayne Tadal's exceptional Purple Rain Sessions book, to photo books from the likes of Steve Park and Afshin Shahidi, to a range of titles from people like Ronan Rowe, Torre, Scott Woods, Alex Hahn, to the stories from people who knew Prince like Brown Mark, Morris Day, Neil Carlin, and Maite, and of course, the release of Prince's own unfinished memoir, The Beautiful Ones. It has been an absolute joy to see the work that has come out in the last few years. Every single one contributes a unique insight or study into Prince, and every one is valuable in trying to understand him. Long may this continue. Number 5. The fan community. If what the estate releases is the heart of Prince's posthumous legacy, the fan community is undoubtedly the soul of it. When you step back and take a look at it all, it's hard not to be blown away by the sheer amount of work that's been put in across the globe. We've had academic events put on by people at various universities, like Kirsty Fairclough, Michael Lean, Arun Saldana, and D'Angela Duff. Being able to give a talk and presentation at the University of Minneapolis at the Prince from Minneapolis Symposium was a dream come true for me, and these events have been consistently amazing. We've also had amazing creator artwork from the likes of Blulay, who we were absolutely honored to assist with the Kickstarter of her book On the One, 1999 art, whose modern minimal designs have been iconic in the fan community, incredible enamel pin designs from the likes of Gigi at Cherry Moon Press and Richard Anthony. We get incredible podcasts from the likes of Amari Purple Talk, Michael Dean, Dr. Funkenberry, and Peach and Black, and YouTube shows that run the gamut from fun, insightful, knowledgeable, and simply downright entertaining, from folks like Nightchild, Mr. Ant, and Prince's Friend. And of course, I'd be remiss to not mention the incredible series of Twitter megathreads from folks like Edgar Cruiser, DJ UMB, and Miss TLC. On top of all of that, fans stepped up to the plate prior to the pandemic with live events, hosting amazing club nights across the world, from the awesome Birmingham Prince Party here in my city, to events organised in London, LA, Minneapolis, and more. When those events cross the barrier from fan-created to working with associates is even better, like the Afshin Shahidi photo exhibit we held in London, the after-parties organised after shows by The Revolution and the New Power Generation, and the celebration after-parties held at places in Minneapolis. All of these and much more help keep Prince's legacy alive, and for that we couldn't be more grateful. So what's next? With all that said, everyone has their idea of what they want to see happen next. This could be projects, it could be releases, it could be events, it could be anything, but I'm going to quickly list 5 things that would be the most gratifying to me personally. Number 1. A comprehensive remastered Paisley Park Records box set. I cannot make it clear enough how important this is to Prince's legacy that we see some attention given to the acts of Paisley Park Records. I'm not expecting a full set of Deluxe remastered reissues straight away, of course, but what I would absolutely love to see is a CD and Blu-ray combination set that gives some love to the likes of The Family, Maserati, Sheila E., Jill Jones, Taja Savell, Madhouse, Tony Lemans, Ingrid Chavez, Eric Leeds, Carmen Electra, the releases that George Clinton and Mavis Staples did on the label, T.C. Ellis, the international stuff like Kahoru Kohiramaki. And even though the original run of the time predated Paisley Park Records, the 1990 reformation that gave us the Pandemonium album is also a Paisley Park Records release. Simply put, there's a lot of gold to be mined here, and most if not all of this stuff is out of print and often hard to find. There's more than enough music videos that were released on the label to fill up a Blu-ray, and the ones that can be found online are usually in pretty poor quality. Number 2. Release something that is video first rather than audio first. One side effect of the video releases that have been included with the Super Deluxe sets is that even though they've been distributed to YouTube at times as well, they still feel like bonus content compared to the main album releases. In a way though, this makes sense based on the video quality of those releases. Although we love seeing them, the quality of a lot of the footage isn't good enough to put them out on their own. So let's look at some stuff that is good enough to put out as its own project. I have some suggestions here. The first is Lovesexy Live. In my opinion, this project should be separate from any Lovesexy Deluxe, because that opens up Lovesexy Deluxe to include a different show that we haven't seen before. But Lovesexy Live has never been released digitally. Only the original 80s VHS and Laserdisc releases, so it's primed for a streaming release. If the estate's Netflix deal isn't exclusive, then it could be offered to another platform like Disney Plus or Amazon Prime. My second suggestion would be to finally release the 3121 movie, or the second cut of it, which is known as the Lotus Flower Cut. This wouldn't necessarily need to be tied to a reissue of either of those albums, and could potentially stand alone. My understanding is that there was also making-of footage filmed, so you could potentially combine a release into two sections, the film and the making-of, plus do new interviews with folks who were there like Afshin Shahidi. My final suggestion is a compilation from 21 Nights in London. We know this footage exists. I was thrilled to see pro-shot footage at Celebration from one of the shows I actually attended, and plenty more were filmed, plus backstage, behind-the-scenes stuff, and that was a record-breaking run. I can attest that people in London weren't talking about much else that summer, and the hype levels were off the charts. It was an incredible time, and I think a compilation of that summer would go down really well. Number 3. Controversy Super Deluxe. This would be my pick for the next Super Deluxe for two main reasons. We haven't heard too many outtakes from this time period, and we haven't seen the Second Coming movie, which was shot on film and therefore can be released in very high quality. The aesthetic with the newspaper headline style would lend itself perfectly to a big box release with a lot of extras, and I think it makes a lot of sense. Not much more to say about that one other than it's something I want, that I think would be well received, and is a crucial middle point between Prince as a more underground, newer artist in his first few years, and the rise that happened with 1999 and Purple Rain, which is by now well-trodden ground. Number 4. The Netflix documentary. Where is it? This has the potential to be a real key moment in Prince's posthumous legacy, yet we haven't heard much about it in quite a while now. Hey, maybe the estate are watching this and giggling to themselves because they know it's done and they're going to drop it on us out of nowhere. I mean, that would be cool, but my gut says it's just not done yet and is still a while off. Who knows? But when it happens, you just know it's going to be huge. Number 5. Put Camille out on vinyl, maybe for Record Store Day. That Camille test pressing has become a holy grail item, with only a small handful known to be in circulation. I know people have lots of thoughts on Camille, and that the material is now out there thanks to Sign of the Times Super Deluxe. To have this as a sequenced, released physical product would be amazing, in my opinion.
So I wanted to do a pulse check with the Prince community to find out what your favourite projects have been, whether that's a musical release or otherwise. And the range of responses has been absolutely amazing. To me, that's the sign of a job well done, that for someone with such an expansive career and such a wide range of different projects, that all the different things have appealed to different people, and people point to different things as their favourites. The estate has managed to do a lot of things in the last 5 years that have made a lot of different fans very happy. After all, life is a parade, right? It would be very boring if we all agreed on what was good and what wasn't. Just as boring as scrambled eggs. All right, I'll stop with the parade jokes now. Let's just take a look at some of the responses that you said to us.
Number 1. MetaDB says the My Name is Prince exhibition, which they saw in Amsterdam and found very emotional. I think that's a great shout, and we should remember that those touring exhibits opened up the opportunity to see many of these things to people that may not otherwise be able to get out to Minneapolis to visit Paisley Park. Number 2. Paul Aiden says Piano and a Microphone 1983, and that he is blown away every time he hears that lost cassette tape. Number 3. As expected, lots of love for the Super Deluxe sets like 1999 and Sign of the Times from folks like India Mallard, John Ferreira, and Mr. Coco. Number 4. A huge amount of love shown for the originals release. Derek Sloan says it's amazing how on point those songs were when Prince gave them to the other artists. I definitely agree with that one, and I'm still holding out hope for his second volume. Number 5. Rob Prinz gives a shout out to the I Feel For You acoustic demo, which was definitely a nice little surprise. Number 6. Here's a fun one. Vintage Man giving a big shout out to the Rainbow Children vinyl slip mat. Definitely a cool item to have. Number 7. Gavin Lenehan says that although people might find it a weird choice, for him it was getting Emancipation on vinyl. Honestly, I have to agree that that was something special, especially given that it had never had a vinyl release before. Seeing that cool 90s artwork and liner notes all blown up, and hearing the warmth of the record on vinyl was very cool.
And we got a lot of responses to that question, so obviously we can't list them all here, but safe to say there were so many just different choices that people made in response to that question about their favourite posthumous project. For me, that's really gratifying to see. When you think about all the different things of the last 5 years, I feel like it's safe to say that Prince's legacy is in good hands. Who knows what we'll see in the next 5 years? Well, I can't wait to find out. And if you can't either, make sure you like this video, subscribe to our channel, and leave us a comment below about what your favorite posthumous project has been and what you'd like to see happen next. A massive shout out to all of our viewers. We appreciate every single one of you. We can't wait to meet more of you at the next celebration, whenever that happens, or any of the events that are sure to happen once this pandemic has calmed down and we've all got our vaccinations and all that stuff. We're sending a huge amount of purple love to you on this emotional day. Now, everybody reacts a little bit differently on this day, and all feelings are valid. But at the end of the day, let's all remember that the only love there is the love we make. Peace and be wild, Purple family. Don't forget to subscribe. We'll see you on the next one.
Hi, I'm Elisa Fiorillo, and you're watching The Violet Reality on YouTube. All things Prince!